Start. So,
Absolutely.
here we're live. Here I was talking like we were live before because it looked as though I was on my screen and I was the only one here, and I didn't want anybody watching to think that we weren't doing something.
Absolutely. So here we are live.
Yeah, I think we have a few more joiners today.
Good.
So
Good.
hopefully we see them soon. There's
Here
Sylvia.
comes Sylvia.
Hi, Sylvia.
Hi, how's everybody doing? I'm trying to get into a good position here.
Yeah.
Great. That's great. Yeah, good. So I'm going to just mute for 1 sec.
Sure.
No problem. It's good that you're on, Suzanne. This is wonderful. It's about marketing today, so we're excited to do that. Definitely let's share first about where we are at, what kind of aspects do we like to talk about, what's part of our companies, what are we doing as wonderful entrepreneurs in this world. So why don't you start then?
Sure. Okay. So I am new to marketing. So I'm here today to learn from you guys, actually, because I've had that experience of being a one-on-one counselor for so many years where it was just word of mouth referral all the time. I did a little bit of marketing, but it wasn't marketing that was fruitful. So now that I'm trying to put all of my work online, I'm learning about, keeping in my lane, choosing somebody to really focus in on, all of those things that are new to me. So I'm really interested to hear what you've both got to say today, and anyone else who joins us, actually, because it's such a new thing. It's a foreign language to me, to be honest. So I'm really keen to hear from the successful ones how you do it. I'm beginning, and so far so good, but I feel like I'm spreading myself way too thin on all of the social media platforms. I think what I need to do is come back and focus on one or two of those social media platforms. That's what I'm thinking. So yeah, interested to learn from you.
Definitely, that's a great strategy. I'll come to you, Annie, next. Is that, really focusing on one platform when you don't know any of them is like, okay, what is your platform? Which one would you want to focus on? And also knowing where your customers are. I know that I need to be on Twitter. I do not like Twitter. I need to be on it, but I really don't like it. But I know a lot of my customers and clients are on LinkedIn. So I really made a conscious effort to consistently post on LinkedIn. I've now passed 10,000 followers. So really exciting to just see how that kind of growth pattern goes when you really focus on one platform and not get unfocused and like shiny bright object syndrome to go to Twitter or this. I do love Instagram. A lot of my customers are not on there, and we can talk about why we would choose different platforms, but the strategy is where your customers are, you should be, and what you're comfortable with as well, because we're all solopreneurs, right? Or that we have a small team, right? A lot of people like that. So I would like to just add that to that, Suzanne. So Annie, would you like to introduce yourself and kind of talk about a little bit about your marketing strategy?
Yeah, hi, I'm Annie, and I have Immigration Station Canada, and I'm an immigration consultant in Canada who helps people to come to Canada or to bring a family member to Canada and that sort of thing. So I am also largely a referral-based business, but marketing is important in whatever business you have, because you're always going to have, peaks and valleys. When you're super busy, you think, do not market. I'm panicking. I have too much work, right? And then as soon as you have a little dip, you panic and you think, I need a marketing person immediately. And I did a lot, right now, yesterday, I need a marketing plan. And I did a lot on my own at the start and listened to a lot of podcasts and, tried to get a little bit marketing savvy on my own, but it's a huge topic. It's a job on its own. And as a professional, I don't have time to do all of that. I don't have the skill. I don't know how to test ads properly. I would do a few things where I would follow someone's plan that they had put out on a podcast or on a, something online, and it would work. And I'd be like, whoa, it worked. But not skilled. I'd get a few likes on Facebook or something like that.
Yeah.
So, I work with Daphne, and she's great. But it's always that struggle with being a small business. How much do you spend on marketing? And good marketing is not cheap, and that's just the reality of it. And you get what you pay for. If you're going to go to Fiverr or something like that and pay nothing, then you are going to get posts that don't sound like you, or that are not reflective of your business, or are not accurate to your business. So that's been a big lesson to me, is that you do get what you pay for. You do need to research the people that you're going to use if they're going to do the work for you. And you need to know that if you're going to do it on your own, it's a full-time job. So do you have time to do that? Because I know that I just simply don't.
Yeah.
That's kind of my overall take on marketing. And the solution for me is to hire somebody who's good.
Yeah.
And do panic about the cost all the time. That's my nature. So, but it is worth it. It is definitely worth it to have a quality marketer on your team.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely what I've seen as well. Like Fiverr really doesn't work. I have used Fiverr off and on to just, let's say I'm launching a book, like get together, like what's it called? Book club. Gosh, I'm like
I
doing
have
like
no
that.
words for you either.
Yeah, I'm like, what are my words? A book club, and wanted to have a little bit different illustrations. So I did go on Fiverr to just see what kind of diversity I would get in some of the images, but then also go back and say, okay, what is my marketing strategy? What are the colors of my my business and my brand, and say, okay, now I can use that as, a Fiverr can give you that like diversity of illustrations or diversity of design, and then incorporate that back into your business. I think the other thing about marketing strategy too, I love that you brought up a couple of different things. Two things I wanted to kind of go around the room again is authenticity, right?
Yeah.
Is number one. And then number two is like, what can you do? So I know that like not all of us can hire a marketing person, and it is like, okay, well, we can't afford $500 or a month, or like $1,000, or we can't afford anything at all. So really picking your battles on that strategy piece, saying where are my customers or my clients? What am I trying to do? What does a customer want to see, right? And do some testing, right? It's really easy to do a couple of testings of like, if I post this, people like this. If people post that, and then carve out some time in your day to say, I am going to focus on that marketing piece, and execute on that. So first of all, it's authenticity. And then secondly is that like carve out some time. And I'll start, and then I'll put it on the room with Suzanne, because I know that you're super authentic, Suzanne. So that's why I want to kind of dive in and learn from you. So authenticity for me is like, LinkedIn does not, I feel like my LinkedIn following is not like, I need to see like Sylvia and her authentic self, but they do love the video, some of the videos that I post. But on Instagram, I feel like I can be myself, and people can follow me there from Clubhouse. Clubhouse is where everybody follows me to Instagram. So I can be that authentic self. I can post like the funny videos, or like just get on video and do something silly, so that I'm actually ready for that video that is a little bit more professional for LinkedIn. So it's kind of like my testing ground. And I know that I'm doing the marketing, I'm getting out there, I'm being authentic, which is what Instagram like loves, right?
Yeah.
But I'm also training myself that when I have to do those videos, I'm like, I'm ready to go. So it's like a 2-for-1, which I'm like super, as a solopreneur, and that's my main solopreneur entrepreneurial endeavor. I can really just, pound the pavement on that. Say, okay, how do I do 2-for-1? How do I do this marketing on authenticity, and then LinkedIn? And then on LinkedIn, on the side of like execution, I realize that every single morning I always have something, right? I have to wait until like the 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning thing, because that's when everybody comments the most, they like the most. So I make sure that everything that's associated with what I feel very much aligned to my main brand, I post during that time. And it's about 15 minutes that I have to spend. I kind of am down to a science, right? It's about 15 minutes. I post, I tag, I put the hashtags and all that. And everything else throughout the day, I can either, put it at 12 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, whatever it is. But I know those are kind of the additional brand associations, right? But my brand of like what's most important to me, I know my biggest time of the day is that time. So for you out there as entrepreneurs, know the time people are super like jazzed and available for you. Know your customer, be on the platform that they love to and that you love to be on. And then that kind of will allow you to do certain things by yourself. And then, of course, if you want to have that bigger brand vision, you know, hire somebody to do that for you. What about you, Suzanne, about that authenticity piece and the execution? What have you found that works best for you?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think I'm still finding my feet, Sylvia, in that, because I was introduced to that idea of doing like a video, maybe posting it on, what seems to work is posting it on YouTube and then reposting from YouTube to LinkedIn to Facebook to wherever else. But what you're saying, what I'm understanding you to say, and what I've heard before too, is that you've got a different people on LinkedIn, different attitudes. They're looking for different stuff, more professional on LinkedIn, more relaxed on Insta and maybe Facebook as well. So maybe that's not such a great plan. It's a time-saving plan because you just do one video on Zoom and then post on YouTube, and then YouTube gives you that opportunity to repost on all those other platforms, which seems like a great idea, but maybe it's not such a great idea. Yeah. But yeah, I think I try to just be my authentic self wherever I am. So maybe that's a mistake too. Maybe I need to be a bit more aware of who I'm posting to, because, you know, I don't know. I don't get a lot of traction on LinkedIn actually. But I
Where do
don't
you
know.
find the most traction?
Probably Facebook, which
Okay.
annoys me because I don't really like I don't really like Facebook. But I often wonder too if it's the topic, like the content, because my content is all about mindset, self-development, all
Yeah.
that sort of thing. And I think people are a bit shy to make comments about that sort of thing too. So it's really hard to get any interaction going, any conversation going with them. Whereas, you know, if you're talking about money, or if you're talking about, you know, something like, you know, that's not so personal, then people will be a bit more interactive with you. So I don't know, maybe I need to tap on that mindset thing. I think I'll do some work on that.
Well, you also said that word of mouth is something that's super important for you, right? So
Yeah.
maybe it's an email, right? That's like marketing strategy does not just mean social media. So we haven't even touched that,
Yeah.
right? And
No,
a
that's
marketing
true.
strategy can be word of mouth, right? I
Yeah.
mean, we can talk about
Yeah.
that. How have you been able to interact with word of mouth customers?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, probably email is even more successful for me than even Facebook is, because I get that interaction, that personal interaction from people. So they're making comments without others knowing that they're making comments, which is interesting. So yeah, I do try to do that at least once a week. And at the moment, last week and this week, I'm launching 2 new programs. Last week was my mindset program on weight loss, and this week is my brand new app, which is really exciting stuff. So it's a bit of a trial. I'll actually do some of the research that you were talking about, Sylvia, this week, figuring out where and when people are commenting, and where they are and where I need to put my focus, because I think I do need to get more refined. Oh, we've lost Sylvia. She's frozen.
We'll get her back. Oh,
Are you there, Sylvia?
yeah. It's funny how she's just frozen.
She's just doing this thing.
She's
She's
just
doing her morning
frozen.
exercise.
Yeah. Well, while we wait for her, I think I face some of the same challenges that you do,
Yeah.
actually, Suzanne. I like Facebook and I like Facebook Lives, but I have to be in the right frame of mind for it.
Yes. Yeah.
The biggest struggle that I have is that consistency on doing that more personal stuff. I'm not shy with it, but it's just doing it.
Being in that.
Primarily because I really like to work really early in the morning, and so I like to dig into my actual work. And so
Yeah.
that's where what I really want is somebody else to do that marketing piece, because it's not my first love.
Yeah.
But our face needs to be out there.
Yeah.
So, like
Yeah.
we need to be out there. So this is certainly a help. but that's something that I know I need to do more. And, I haven't been posting my blog posts or anything all summer because I was
Mm.
so busy. And I finally did one last week, and didn't I get a call on it the next day?
Yeah, there you go.
Right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
So,
Congratulations.
yeah. So I guess my SEO isn't too bad. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just, I think it's developing that habit of just doing it and, getting it done. Like Sylvia does 15 minutes in the morning. That's a
Yeah.
super smart way to just get it done. I find, Sylvia, I get sucked into it. So I start
Yeah.
doing it, and then it's like an hour and a half later and I haven't posted anything yet.
Yeah, for me,
Mm.
it's more like Facebook sucks me in. LinkedIn, I just know that it's like I have like posts ready for the week, right? And of course, like I
Right.
could do automation. Like let's not go into automation, right? But
Right.
still, I have so much to post that I'm just like, okay, in the morning, first thing, do 15 minutes. I have a meeting that I just wait, do it right before that meeting starts. So I'm like done. I don't get sucked into it. And then throughout the day, I'm able to, like, when I pick up the kids or I do this, I can actually comment. So I feel like throughout the day, I can do some piecemeal stuff of the engagement piece, right?
Yeah.
Is the
Right.
likes and the comments, because I did post something at the beginning of the day. And then sometimes,
Right.
like, it's been weird. Like I sometimes share an article like 10 p.m. at night when I'm like about to go to sleep, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I totally read it. I want to share it. And that like gets like 7,000 views. I'm like, who knew?
Wow.
Right. Right. But it also aligns with your brand vision, what you stand for. So that's part of
Yeah.
that marketing strategy, is that, sometimes on demand stuff is great. Sometimes you can automate it and organize it. So yeah, it's all, I think it's all what we can accomplish. Right. Annie, is like,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
like, hey, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do it first time in the morning because I need to get my stuff done. I need to execute. Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
maybe
Mm.
it's a night thing for me because it's, I have to have my brain 100% when I'm working on somebody's immigration process, and
Yeah.
I'm a morning person, so that's when I do it. Whereas the marketing piece, yes, you have to be right on it, but maybe it's something you do at more of a secondary time for
Mhm.
yourself, where you don't need to be quite as brain active. Sylvia, I'm
Mm.
creeping your LinkedIn right now.
Oh,
Now that you've,
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
good.
Sylvia, how long did it take you to build up 10,000 followers on LinkedIn? That's amazing.
Yeah, no, I just hit it like probably like 2 months ago. I'm gonna do like a little photo shoot. I'm like, I'm gonna do the photo shoot. Everybody does that little balloons thing. So I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna do that. Because
yeah,
that's part of like that authenticity of being a little bit like, especially on Instagram, right? Is
Yeah.
the just being out there, being a little bit more like accessible. As an investor myself, I feel like a lot of investors have that thing of like, okay, we're behind like this kind of
Yeah.
glass, whatever
Wow.
you've built around me. I'm not
Yeah.
like that. So I try my hardest to find little pieces that I can be more authentic and more community, more like, hey, this is, you're my family, right? And we're going to grow together and we're going to have wonderful discussions together. So those are the kinds of things but I think that what your question is, Suzanne, also is that I was consistent for so many years of just
Yeah.
being on LinkedIn. Like that
Yeah.
is where my thing is. I do all my messaging through that. If somebody needs to connect with me, it's always on LinkedIn. So I didn't dilute my like, oh my gosh, I have to be on Facebook. I have to be here. If you look at my Facebook, it's not the greatest because I just don't even spend time on it. Right. I really
Yeah.
spend time on LinkedIn because in the investor world, we do a lot of our due diligence for entrepreneurs and the investors that we syndicate
Sure.
through LinkedIn. So for me,
Yeah.
it's like I have to be super active, super out there, super available for both sides of the
Mm.
venture table to be able to have those conversations and also be able to reach out to somebody and ask them a question. So if I'm not
Mm.
always on there, I look like I'm dead in the water. People are like, who is this person reaching out to me? Right. So
Yeah.
it kind of aligns with the business strategy, aligns
Yeah.
with the marketing strategy. So it's easier, right? Again, it's like a 2 for
Okay.
yeah,
1 or a 3 for 1, right?
Yeah.
It's like, let's work
Yeah.
easier, not harder, right?
Yes.
Or what is it
Absolutely.
called? Let's work more. Oh, it's not easier. It's more
efficient.
Smarter.
smarter than harder.
Right.
Ah,
Smarter
finally got
than.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
That's amazing to get. So really a number of years actually posting and commenting on other people's posts,
yeah,
or
yeah.
yeah,
I believe very wholeheartedly in a good marketing mix. So the
yeah,
marketing mix of me promoting myself, basically posts that I generate,
Yeah.
Then I have my network of wonderful ladies who I invest in, and I always share their information, maybe an article. Sometimes they share it with me saying, hey, Sylvia, I just posted an article, or we're in Forbes, or something like that. Can you share? And I always share. And I always say
Okay.
gratitude and thank you and like, great
Yeah.
job. Those are the
Yeah.
things that when, when I've created my brand vision and my brand documents and the business, my business plan, those are the words that I use, right?
Mm,
Is in product integrity. It's about
yeah.
innovation. It's about connecting. It's about
Mhm.
ecosystem building.
Yeah.
So I'm using those same words. So when somebody sees my stuff, they're like, okay, ecosystem, innovation, collaboration.
Yeah.
And I'm doing what I say I'm doing. So that
Yeah.
marketing mix is sharing of people's posts, articles, different events. Sometimes, and I do the marketing mix of some of it being video, of my stuff being video,
Yeah.
still pictures, images, and also articles. And then I was thinking about something else. It was still pictures, sharing. Um, yeah, and also a marketing mix of my own like business page versus my individual page. So my individual like
Yeah.
profile is 10,000 followers. My business page not as much. So
Right.
I post things on the business page more than anything my podcast. So it just kind of sits there, so it's more static. And I made sure that
Mm,
that's kind of more static. That's like business. But then my personal is where I share sometimes a business, probably
yeah.
like a 10% of my business, and everything
Mm,
else is like sharing of the ecosystem and the growth that all of us are doing together. So hashtag stronger together, I use a ton.
yeah.
So those are the kinds of
Yeah.
things. It's the whole I think it's Guy Vandercheck. I can never say his name, but that's jab, 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 right hook. It's like, okay, jab, jab,
Yeah.
jab. You're like giving them, giving, value, value, value. Right
Huh.
hook of your business, or right hook of I have a program, or right hook of you can book some time with me, or
Mm,
coaching, right? Like what you do, Suzanne. So I
yeah.
take that
Yeah.
approach as well
Yeah.
on that strategy.
Yeah. I have been doing that for a long time and maybe haven't been getting the mix quite right because it feels like I'm jab, 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 jab,
Yeah.
and and not actually doing the right hook thing. So yeah, maybe I need to listen to Gary V.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm a guy, Gary. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
I
correcting.
found I
Yeah.
found one thing that was successful, Suzanne, and it's toot your own horn a little bit. Don't be too brazen, but toot your own horn because people want to know that you are successful. And
Yeah.
at first, I was really shy on this, but then I'm so proud of my successes when a client has a benefit from it. Like I'm so happy for my clients when something good happens. It's like
Yeah.
the best, right? You get an application. It doesn't matter how big or small it is. You get the word, we get the email through from the government of Canada, IRCC, and you see it and it's positive and it's like, oh,
Mm,
and I love
mm,
posting about that stuff because it's exciting for me because it's a win, but it's exciting for my client because this is their life. This is a
yeah.
really big deal. So,
Absolutely.
it's a big deal for me. And so at first I didn't want to post, and now I'm like, I kind of want to post my successes because they're a big deal for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I find that they are a good part of my marketing strategy, but it is being careful because I did do it one time too much once, and I did feel like it didn't get the same
Mm,
positive reaction. It just, didn't get the same kind of likes or
mhm,
nice comments. And I was like,
Mm,
maybe that was just like a little bit too much. Like it shouldn't be every Thursday I post my wins because then it's just
yeah.
kind
mhm.
of, you know, it's
Where's
not good. But
yeah.
when you have some good ones or something really special happens, letting people know I think is so valuable. And I think
Mhm.
it strengthens their confidence in you. So, and I'm sure you have the same things in your industry
Yeah.
because you're helping people all the time.
Yeah, except I can't talk about it because it's
Me neither.
client counselor.
Yeah.
No, but
I
I
have
think
to
I think
I
Suzanne,
know.
like I see Annie, you and Suzanne, you're so excited when you're talking about your clients, even if you can't talk about them,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
getting on like an Instagram live or even a Facebook live and says, oh my gosh, I just finished with a client. And your exuding of like the energy that you have
Mm,
translates so much more than you
Yeah.
okay.
saying, okay, well, a week later, I'm going to talk about them. Just like get on and say like, I just had a fantastic experience. I'm so jazzed about my client, and just kind of talk about how you are feeling, not necessarily like what the transformation that they did,
Good.
but like
Yes.
you're like, oh my gosh, this is my life. I love this. What
Yes.
and just even being like that for a minute, wow, somebody's gonna be like, I want her, right?
Yeah.
And then they're
Yeah,
like, okay, where do I go?
that. It gives them that confidence, I think. And
Yeah.
it took me a while to kind of realize that. But when I watch someone else who is successful or confident or, engaged in what they're doing, I think, oh, I want to use that person. So yeah, it is, there's some tact involved in it, but if you're happy with your work, even though you can't say their names or maybe the situation, sometimes it's just, something really good happened.
Yeah, that's
So
good. Thank you for that. That's really, I hadn't actually thought about doing that because it's all been about keeping everything private. But yeah, of course I
yeah,
can talk about them without naming who they are and,
yeah.
talk about how I feel about what's going on for them. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
good.
love that.
Sometimes they kind
Yeah.
of know, like I've had people be like, was that my case? And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep. Isn't that great?
I'm really happy with it.
But I
Yeah.
think that both of you, I've been on a couple of Facebook lives with you. I mean, how you guys show up, how you ladies show up, in like superwoman power awesomeness. I'm like, if I was a potential customer, like I want to work with them. They're like
Yeah.
super approachable. Like that's what video allows you to
Yeah.
showcase is the approachability. It's not like, oh, I'm giving you details about this person that I can't give you details about. It's like, okay, and that's part of that marketing strategy, is that marketing mix, that jab, 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 right hook, is that, okay, they're like seeing you, like, oh my gosh, she's amazing. She gets so jazzed like this about a customer. I want to have her be jazzed about me. Or like Suzanne, you always have a very like soothing voice. I'm like, I can, like I can talk to you for hours, right? I mean, like she's so soothing. If I have any problems, I'll definitely go to Suzanne and like talk to her. That like, I always say drinking the Kool-Aid. You want them to drink the Kool-Aid with you, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's why video is so powerful. But again, like I think the marketing strategy of like LinkedIn, you're not going to go on and be all like, here's like I'm by the beach and I'm like laying out in my bikini. You're not going to do that, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
But it's more professional. So I think that meeting the marketing strategy with a platform that you're doing, or an email campaign, like you're saying, it's word of mouth. Maybe an email campaign, you do a 30-second video. I love my job. You know why I love my job? Because I transform people, and that transformation makes me get up every single morning. Even just like that, like, and your exuding thing, that's gonna be like, yes, click on that.
Good.
Let's get her, ready to
Yeah,
go.
that's interesting, because that's a really short, like that's something I can do in a moment during the day in between clients. It's not something that I have to put a whole lot of thought in. It just bubbles out. So yeah, I love that. That's great. Thank you. Really good. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. One of the statements, I don't know who prepared this list, but I think it might have been Daphne, says, don't compromise your values to fit in. And that's definitely been part of the resistance for me, because I don't want to compromise those values. I don't want to, just to fit in with whoever's reading or watching Facebook or whatever. So that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going through like my videos here, and a lot of them are just like the highest level views are the ones that, let's see, like it was 100 something on one of them. Oh, 78. I just got, whenever I finished a call, I just get on my Instagram live and just like, hey, I just finished this like event or something like that. Because sometimes I can't film what I'm talking about because it's discussion and we're talking about entrepreneurs, and I just don't want them to feel bad. But afterwards I'm like, oh my gosh, this was amazing. Like, this was great. Let me talk about that. This is kind of what I learned. Right. And it's just interesting. The biggest one was like 119. I was by my lemon tree in my backyard. I'm like, who knew? Right. So that's kind of interesting. And I think the other one was, podcast. I just said, well, I'm starting my podcast now. I'm in a recording studio. Like, can't wait to get on. This is kind of what we talk about. Just like my process is, and that's nothing to do with like me selling to somebody. It's a podcast, right? So even
Podcast,
getting
yeah.
ready for these calls, right, is kind of like, okay, we're ready to do this call, and like we're super
Yeah.
excited. It's a Superwoman entrepreneur group, and I'm jazzed to get on. These ladies are amazing. Just join us anytime. 30 seconds. I don't know. There's something about video that's
Sure.
really good. And the marketing strategy too. I like the part of values. Annie, do you find that with working with people who are going through what they're going through, that values piece is super important to you? And how do you communicate that in your marketing strategy?
Yeah, when I'm writing articles, I try to make them simple and focused on the types of problems that people are having in immigration, and that's been very successful for me. Also, just being an authentic person in video, talking to people and trying to appreciate their situation and trying to understand what they're going through and showing that empathy really goes a long way for me. And it's how I feel. So that's the easy part. I do think, yeah, that piece about being genuine is very important. If you're trying to be someone else, it's really, really hard.
Yeah.
So it's really easy just to be yourself. And so that's how I try to come through when I'm doing videos, and how I try to come through when I'm blogging. But when I'm blogging, I really do look at how can I help someone who's dealing with a problem, and maybe they can't afford to call a consultant, or they're daunted by it and they need some information, and at least gives them kind of a step in the door. And then if they need more information, they will call. And so that's where I'm always looking for those topics where it's, did somebody ask me a question about that before? I look at stuff like that.
Yeah.
I go through my Facebook messages sometimes and just see what people have asked me. And sometimes I'll even reach out to them after and let them know that I answered their question in one of my blogs. Sometimes I'll post on Facebook groups where people are asking questions, and then I'll, hey, can I do a blog on your question? It'll be, I need topics and they need answers. So it's helpful that way. And it helps you to develop some relationships. It doesn't always get you a client, but it's just getting yourself out there so people kind of know your name, know your face, and know what you're about. And I think it just adds to the breadth of your website and your Facebook and your whichever platforms you're using. I like Facebook and LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram, but I don't like Instagram. And I just can't get into it.
Yeah.
And the other one, I don't like the messaging platform on Facebook. So I like people to email me. So I've, figured out some ways around that sort of stuff as part of my marketing, and it's just tinkering and, playing and figuring things out.
You mentioned Clubhouse, Sylvia. Are you still doing Clubhouse?
I'm still doing Clubhouse. Yeah, not as much as I used to. I used to
Okay.
have 2 shows on Tuesday and Saturday morning. That consistency piece that like Andy brings up of like doing it consistently is really hard to consistently have like Saturday
It
morning at 7
is.
a.m. to get on Clubhouse. So, but what I do is I like pop in and out of some Clubhouse rooms. We have a Clubhouse room for Startup San Diego on Thursday nights at like 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I mean, usually I'm picking up kids, or it's 8 o'clock. I can't remember, but usually picking up kids. I can't be like on, but if I can,
Yeah.
I just kind of pop on and see. But what I do is I capitalize on whenever I'm on Clubhouse. So
Yeah.
how I capitalize is I just like take a screenshot. You can't record, it will stop you on Clubhouse, but I do a screenshot of the Clubhouse thing. Then I go through each individual profile and I screenshot those, because it's super hard to kind of be doing all of that at the same time because you want to listen. Do all the screenshots, and then as soon as like I need to get off in 15 minutes or an hour or whatever, I post everything, tag everybody, and everybody either comments or they share on their Instagram. I do everything on Instagram, not Twitter. So it's just a matter of like growing a little bit by little bit my Instagram. I think I'm almost to 1,000 followers on Instagram. So again, photo time with my little balloons. I'm so excited. Can't wait. That is typically not what I do, so that's why it's super funny, because I'm like, I would never do that. But it's like kind of having the fun part of business, and so that's how I use Clubhouse. Is that I bring value to whoever's in the room, right? I tell them, hey, I'm available. ask any questions that you want. I share as much as I can during the time that I have. I just can't be on it for hours and hours and hours like other people. When I first started, I was on for like 4 hours, and I can't. You can't sustain that. For me, I can't. Right. And then the production of rooms or hours that I'm available is super hard. But I have been asked to like, hey, can you come on to our clubhouse at like 2 p.m. In 2 weeks on Tuesday? 100% love it. Right.
Yeah.
And basically I just share their social media. We get, we do that. And then and whenever I do that, I try to do like a Canva image of takeaways, because you can't video, right?
Yeah.
And you can do something on a story of like tagging everybody, but to kind of capitalize on what you shared as a value creation, I just do something in Canva super quick about the takeaways of that clubhouse, so people know that I'm available. I am on Clubhouse, but I don't like go all out on there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's certainly it's a platform that's really successful for some people and not so much for others. My daughter is in short-term rental, and she's just made an absolute, a lot of followers, and she's made lots of inroads in other places from just that Clubhouse platform. So yeah.
I haven't figured that out, so we need to get a Clubhouse person on here. But I know Daphne's on it a lot too. So, but I think that's part of like this marketing strategy conversation, is that be authentically in the platforms that make sense to you, because you are a solopreneur. Again, like you can be a bigger company and like hire away, right? But when you're yourself, you have to be very cognizant of your mental health, your health of your business, and find out, how you can get in front of people and have a great marketing strategy that you're okay with, it you can live with. Be authentic, keep your customer in mind, and like be on the platforms that your customer is on. So try to make it stupid simple, right? I'm like, keep it KISS, right? Keep it stupid simple, or keep it simple sister, right? Whatever the KISS means to you, right? I just feel like that's marketing strategy can get really unwieldy, really big. I love strategy. I can talk for hours on marketing strategy, but I really go back to any entrepreneur who's out there. It's like, what can you do? And you alone, and you only have a certain amount of hours in a day. And if something picks up, go for it, right? And then rebuild your strategy, right? Always iterate, always try to find a better way, better mousetrap, better whatever, and go with what that is. But then have a strategy of like, okay, I need a good marketing mix. What does that look like? We've heard now from Annie a couple of times. I'm like, and now you're reminding me to do my blog, right? You're like, hey, if I get a blog, I get one person. That's huge, right? No, that, right? So, that's really awesome, right? That's awesome and positive. Let's keep on doing those positive marketing tactics so that our strategy is stronger.
Yeah, I think that really helps me. Thank you, because I've been sort of scattered trying to find the right place, the right platform. But I think now, from hearing you talk, I need to come up with that strategy and stay focused on one or two, maybe three platforms, and just do that. And I've got email, LinkedIn, Facebook. Not so great on Insta either. Annie, I understand your resistance there. But yeah, I think that's
not my generation, so it's not my fault.
Yeah.
For me, it's funny because it's also, I feel like a lot of it is like our family dynamics. Like I have 2 teenagers and 1 in college. So I have a 23-year-old, 18 and 15-year-old, and my 15-year-old is a model. So I'm constantly on Instagram, like blocking creeps and posting all of her stuff. So I'm consistently on it as her mom manager. So for me, it's like, it's easy enough to kind of switch back and forth and do my own, and it's growing my business, and like, why not? Right. So I know it really well for her. And that just kind of is, I capture a different type of market too, which is kind of interesting. I didn't think it was going to be that way. Again, I should be on Twitter because all VCs are on Twitter. I hate Twitter. Right. But I say LinkedIn is my real platform of choice. So it's more of like, it's not that I love Instagram and all my clients are on Instagram. I just enjoy it because I can go quickly back and forth. My kids are on it. They see me who I am and they love what I do. So it's like kind of sharing with the family, right?
Yeah.
But I know that there's other strategies of not having a private and public Instagram and like have it all like your private stuff out. I can't do that. I like to have my own business, right? And kind of
Yeah.
promote that on Instagram. So I think that everybody has your own strategy and you have to be comfortable with it. What do you think
Yeah.
about that, Annie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I think what happens is that the more little things you do, the more you start to realize the things that are comfortable for you. And sometimes you do have to force yourself to do a certain thing and then you get good at it. So for example, maybe at first you're doing video and it's kind of hard to get them out, but after you do a bunch, then you can just spin a video out. No point in just talking.
Yeah.
So it's kind of developing a little bit of skill that makes it easier later. For me, it was just finding those things that I was comfortable with and that I would do. Clubhouse, I found really tough because I felt I have to be on at a specific time. And, like when you're a mom and an entrepreneur and all the millions of hats that you carry, that kind of rigidity is very difficult. Anytime somebody says to me, I want you to be here, this is, I think, the only thing I do the same time every week. But here,
Honored. Yes.
I feel the same for you ladies, because I'm sure you're in the same boat, but
Yeah.
that you want me to be in the same place every week? What? Nobody does that nowadays, So, and I love the flexibility of being an entrepreneur. So of course I don't want to be in the same place every single week at the same time. So that was what I found challenging with that one. Whereas if I can do something like a Facebook Live, I can do it when I'm out on a run, or I can do it, when I have just a few minutes to myself. And I admit lately I have been kind of shying away from that stuff with the goal of getting back into it once I get settled into my new house, because it's been chaos. And this I think is a valid point for entrepreneurs as well. You go through periods in your life where you're probably not going to market. So you need to be able to pick up though where you left off, or have somebody. So I have Daphne. So I know that I have two main hubs. She looks after Facebook and Insta for me. So I know that those are just going to go along. So even if I can't get to it, I know that I've got some consistent content out there, and then I can make sure I jump back in once I get through whatever hairy period I'm going through. And you're going to go through, your business is really busy. Well, great. It's too bad you can't get to that marketing right now because your business is really busy. So then if you have that little backup, that can be a big helper as well.
Yeah. And we haven't even talked about like, making it so that it's automated, right? Daphne's probably in here going like, should be in here going, okay, automate everybody, girls. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're just posting something every single day. So I know automation makes it super
twice
easy.
A day. She will tell you twice a day. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, what?
Yeah. So, but I mean, like automation, you can use Hootsuite or something like that to post to everything. And people do that. I have tried to do it. And again, like, I don't even have the time to like set up the Hootsuite. So that's where I'm at. I'm being super honest, right? But I know that I like go on Canva and I make sure that all of my like quotes and stuff like that, I use like a tile approach in Instagram. I make sure that those are, I do like a whole batch of them. So I batch all of those. I batch all of my podcasts as well, so that they're just coming out, right? Of course, I use a podcast producer, but I have to batch my podcast, and then he takes it over and he does the rest, right? So there's ways around not being so like bogged down in the tactics, and that's that marketing strategy. But again, that costs money sometimes, like the podcast producer for me. It just takes my time too for Canva, right? But it is easy. As soon as I have it on my phone, I'm like, boop, 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 boop. Like it takes me like 2 seconds to do, right? So
yeah, and Canva's a real, like, I know we're not promoting other brands and that sort of thing, but it's a great tool for entrepreneurs because they take a lot of the work out of things for you, and they just buy it. Don't go with the free one. Just buy the cheaper version of it. whatever version, whatever's the cheapest, buy it, because it saves your butt all the time, and you can copy stuff that you've done before and alter it a little bit, or, you know, have those quote tiles where you just tack in a new quote and your marketing looks consistent. And so you can fill in those gaps where your professional's not, you know, if they're not doing something and you want to add something in because some update happened, and you can make it look pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a big proponent of Canva. I did sign up for Hootsuite and then buy Hootsuite. I did. I signed up for
Not
all
s-
the things.
yeah. What
And
about YouTube? Are you using YouTube at all? No?
I have one
No.
video.
Wow.
I
Okay.
mean,
So
I
during
have.
COVID, I traveled a lot, and I was trying to get travel in Ontario, but it didn't happen.
Okay.
Do you use it, Suzanne?
Yeah, I do. I created a channel,
Ooh.
which is just a bunch of videos of me talking about things like, you know, reducing stress, reducing anxiety, all that kind of thing. So it's just, I think it's called Suzanne Scarrow Live Show or something like that. My Facebook business page is Suzanne Scarrow Live. So yeah, I have used that, which is probably why I was going that route of doing the video on Zoom, posting it on YouTube, and then reposting from there. But I think I'm going to rethink that strategy, having talked to you lovely ladies, because I think I need to really zero in a bit more on probably LinkedIn. Pinterest. What about Pinterest? Is anybody using Pinterest?
A little bit.
A little bit? Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
and so it's a great place to post blogs, actually, surprisingly. You put
okay.
a pretty graphic with it, and it links to your blog, and it gets to your website and all that kind of stuff. And so it's attractive. You know, it's a nice way to look for blogs, and it's visually appealing. And I have a friend, she has the best marketing plan ever.
Okay.
She's amazing. If I could just be her, she's that good. But she pays someone, and she worked very hard, and she pays someone, and she's got it nailed. But anyway, she is one. I creep her Pinterest every so often. She's done such a good job on the blog posting there, and it is very effective. And it's, you know, Pinterest is a great search tool, right? You put a search in, Pinterest comes up. So if you're on there, it's going to come up. And it's visually appealing, and it works. But again, so what happened was I had decided I was going to do Facebook, LinkedIn, Insta, Pinterest, and Twitter. I'm just going to do those.
Okay.
Well, it's impossible. It is too, you know, you can keep up with that for a month, but then your business, right? Like, are you a marketer, or are you
Yeah.
helping people, or are you an immigration consultant? Like,
Yeah.
so, and that's the kicker, right? Like, what's your niche? And it's obviously not marketing. So 5
Yeah.
platforms is too much. And it seems like it's just going to be so easy because you're going to cross post, and you're going to use Canva to make the different graphics, and they're just going to change the format so it fits. But it just isn't like that.
It's too much. Yeah.
They're just going to do it, right? Except for they don't. You have to click the buttons, and you have to do it.
Yeah.
And you have to like how it looks. That was a big issue for me, is that,
Yeah.
you know, you go down that rabbit hole. Do I like how it, oh no, 2 hours later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
I need to go do some immigration.
Well, I learned definitely a lot of things today with like the blog going on Pinterest. I do not use Pinterest at all. So
No.
so it's interesting. I will look into that. I was just checking my YouTube channel. I do have a YouTube channel, She Invests, where podcasts were there, but I just realized it's like 3 years ago. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to get all my podcasts back on there. So we do like all the other, you know, podcast platforms and stuff like that. But we were using YouTube for a while, because people do go to YouTube to sometimes watch podcasts, but it's all audio, right? So it's kind of like, well, what do I do? So I think it just gets very unruly, like we were just already talking about the marketing strategy, to be in all places. And of course, like we haven't even talked about newsletters and email marketing and all that. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm going crazy right now. But yeah, it's hard. And when you need to execute, right? Also in your business, it's hard, you know?
Oh, is that your Pinterest?
That's my friend
your
who I I covet
I
hers.
will
Very
have a
good.
look.
It's really good. She's a very good example of how to use Pinterest for your blog, and she has a very effective blog. So yeah,
Okay.
check it out.
Will do.
And
Thank
then,
you.
if you really want a good marketing, it's very symmetrical all the way through. She uses the majority of the platforms. She doesn't use Twitter, uh, but she does use a lot of platforms, and it's very consistent in the look and the style and the feel, and it's very consistently put out there. So I really think
Hmm.
she's got a good thing going, and this is a person who did her own stuff for a long time.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Now
mhm.
she's got someone
So
doing it for her
yeah,
professionally.
she does.
Yeah.
Her business is it's busy, and she's in any kind of consulting business, it seems like it can really take over your whole life if you're not careful.
Yeah.
Mhm,
So you have to choose where you're going to use people so that you can take a weekend. Otherwise, you're going to
Mm.
be working all the time.
mhm,
Mm.
mhm.
So,
Yeah.
and entrepreneurs like to make money, so they will take the work.
Yeah. No, she
Absolutely.
has very good marketing. Very good
Yeah.
marketing. Very clean, very consistent.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's definitely something she's good at. So, yeah, she's hired a couple of people. Yeah, I definitely keep an eye on what she's doing because it helps me when I'm not really sure. It sometimes helps me to get some idea to
Mm.
streamline what I'm doing. Now, like I said, I have Daphne, and I can't say enough good things because she does reflect what I want. And that's one of the hardest things in finding a marketer is
Mhm.
getting that person who kind of reflects your vibe. Um, but yeah, if I
Yeah.
didn't, I'd almost want to hire this consultant who's not
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
marketer.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I think we only about
That's
7
right.
more minutes left of our time together. Do we want to just go around the room one more time and just kind of talk about our biggest takeaways for marketing strategy in our own businesses? I know we talked about like the good, bad, and the ugly, right? But what has worked and kind of close it out. Suzanne, do you want to
Yeah.
go first?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my takeaway is I've been spreading myself too thin and I need to get much more focused and actually develop a strategy, which I've sort of done, but not really. So I really need to really refine that and stick to it. And I love your idea, Sylvia, about 15 minutes in the morning, because if I
Mm-hmm.
could just put that into that space of time and know it was done every day, yay, party time. I'd be throwing out those balloons too. So thank you for that. That's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I would
Yes.
agree with that one. I love that 15 minutes in the
Mm,
morning. And I like how you chose which one would be your 15 minutes because you can get sucked into another. I thought that was really valuable.
yeah.
And then, just that reminder, even though I say yeah, you guys also remind me of that consistency piece that is so important.
Yeah.
Um, once in a while really doesn't cut it for marketing. It does need to be consistent so that you do get those numbers of followers increase and just people knowing about your business.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are definitely my two takeaways.
That's good.
Yeah, for me,
Yeah.
it's taking a little bit of Suzanne, of like thinking about the word of mouth, right? Is something I always forget about, right? And how to do that,
Mm,
emails, reaching out. That's equally as important. And of course, like Annie, like reminder to do the blog. Ugh! So I rely heavily actually on LinkedIn articles. So it's easier to publish on LinkedIn. So I do that
mm,
because, of course, like I'm super focused, 15 minutes a day kind of thing, right?
yeah.
But then I don't do that extra step of doing it on the blog. And I loved your feedback on Pinterest, right? So and I love Canva, right? So
Yeah.
I'm going to take that to heart and say, okay, how do I build out a better strategy of 15 minutes plus maybe another 15 to kind of say, okay, where else can I post it and make it part of that strategy, right? I'm not going to be
Yeah.
like a Pinterest queen, right? But
Yeah.
how can I grow that? And of course, like my Instagram, I'm trying to also connect Instagram and LinkedIn a little bit more. So I'm working on a couple things, right? So my LinkedIn,
Mm,
my Instagram, I use Linktree to
Yeah,
be able
Linktree.
yes.
to
Me
connect
too.
different things.
Yeah.
Because I have the podcast, I have my book, I have, the website. How do I communicate all of that? And
Yeah.
sometimes I have been able to take some of the videos and content that I have on Instagram and put it on LinkedIn. It doesn't really like hold. So I think that one of the things that I know is that the marketing strategy, you have to be really cognizant of the customers that you have, speak to your customer, and speak to the platform that it's on. Like LinkedIn will not really, their algorithm will not take something that's about your kids, right? But Instagram maybe, or like Twitter, you can bring in something like that. So know your platform. Speak to that platform, but also speak to the customers that you have. Maybe it is word of mouth and you have to be in front of them more. So I think that those are the things that I have learned from the time that we have together. You know, we're superwoman entrepreneurs here. So super excited about the platform that we're also building. So very excited to put that out there to all the Facebook lovely people on our live, that we are putting out a whole you know, group of important information. Suzanne or Annie, do you want to talk about your pieces and then close it out?
Sure. So my part in the mastermind will be about mindset and getting your mindset right, because if you've got something that's blocking you, you're not living your full potential, either in your personal life and certainly not in your business. So getting that mindset right, getting it clear of all those limiting beliefs is what my section of the mastermind will be. Thank you.
Yeah, and my section of the mastermind, it is about relationships in business and the different types of relationships, how we navigate them, how we use them, how they can really benefit our business. And I say this all the time, but for me, collaboration is huge. And I find people are so nervous about collaborating with people in their field because they don't feel like there's room for everybody, but I can assure you there is, and collaboration can just bring you so much more value and help to grow your business. So that's a big piece of what I'm speaking about within the mastermind. Yeah.
So we're going to be able to get a mindset about like values creation and who we are and the vision we're in and the mission. And then we're going to be able to collaborate with other ones that are values aligned. I love this. That's the mastermind that we're creating all together. And then I'm going to come in and do business model. I have been able to put together something of a business model that is a one-page business model based on the business model canvas, and then other pieces of business model modeling, let's say, and keeping it super simple. Like again, KISS, keep it simple, sister, and creating a business model around that so that you can have that conversation and talk to your partners and your collaborators saying, I'm working on this. Does this make sense to you? And then checking my mindset, making sure, can I do this? Right. So really excited to be part of this mastermind. And we come on here every Tuesday live at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I love this group of superwoman entrepreneurs because we're all international and we're all, you know, like trying to grow our businesses, growing it together authentically, vulnerably. And sometimes we learn from each other during the sessions. And sometimes we're like, okay, we know this super well, and we're going to bring as much value as we can to you every single week. So very excited to be here. I think we're out of time. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. It's always a pleasure to talk to you guys, Annie and Suzanne. So it's so cute. Perfect.
Thanks, Sylvia.
So thanks
Annie.
everybody.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.